All right, so while shaving, which won't last that much longer, please bear with me. I'm sure you can hear me above the annoying drone, but hey, when inspiration strikes, so do I. So take from this what you can and leave what you won't. The consideration this AM being Sunday, the 5th of May, 9:08 AM Central Standard Time, is God. The contemplation is that concerning God, God. Now, my research has led to the understanding that, first of all, it is merely a term. A term, like a contract, basically establishes a time, a period, as defined by the contract itself. Nothing extraneous to that contract, right? Can hold the parties to that particular contract. Okay? So a term is established by the drafter and agreed to by the opposite party that entered into the contract. That's a term. Furthermore, and to add greater clarity, you should understand that one term, although may likely spelled the same as another uh, term, or let's just say two words can have exactly the same letters and have different meanings, especially in the English language. These are called terms. And again, their definitions are determined by the author of the term itself. I hope you're picking up what I'm putting down. That's very key and very important. Okay? In the English language, you know that one word spelled identically can have separate meanings and definitions. Okay? So that's what a term is. Okay? The definition is established by the author of the term, of the word. Okay? And so God is a term. Lest ye be convinced or persuaded that a deity, a mythological entity or being, authored the term itself. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Okay. The idea of a Santa Claus and the term, the name, the title, right, did not come from Santa Claus. The name or term came from people who wanted to sell the idea of a Santa Claus. Okay, I doubt if you're going to argue against that. More times than not, it's another that comes up with a legend about a particular entity or idea, right? And so The term God, according to etymology, derived from a German word, G-O-D-T, Gott, G-O-D-T. And Gott suggests the source. The source. Once again, the source. That's what it suggests, the source. The source from which all things come up from. Up from. Ascend from. As opposed to and in contrast with descending. And furthermore, that term, God, or Gott, G-O-D-T, was gender neutral. It didn't have a sex connotation. It was gender neutral. It was neither male nor female. So just take all of those interesting assertions, and if you would like, you can fact check them. No problem. And let's move forward. So, what is God to us? You know, it depends on who you're talking to, doesn't it? All nations, all different nations are defining God, the source, in their own way, in accordance with their cultures. Do you agree? So there are many gods, as the scripture will say. Isn't there? There's many gods. Marvel Comics has hundreds, perhaps thousands of gods. DC has hundreds of gods, maybe thousands of gods. Mythological creatures defined, by the author, as in a contract. And so that was my contemplation today. What is the source? Do you see? Look at it this way, another perspective. The friends that I grew up with in school do not have the same source or come from the same source that I do. We all have different progenitors. My mother and father are different from the friends that I grew up with and their mother and father. I did not come from their source. Therefore, in a sort of way, my God and goddess, are mine, exclusive to me. They created me. That is my creator and creatoress, if you will. So that's my source. That's the only source we know. We don't know of any other source. We idealize a Santa Claus and Easter Bunny, but we don't truly know of any other source other than that from which we came. We know one thing for sure and two things for certain, that we were born blood, sweat, and tears from the mother after the conception that involved the father. We know that for certain. And that is duplicatable, repeatable, observable, all of the scientific, all the things involved in scientific method. We know that for certain. That is one thing that we can, as they say, hang our hats on. We know where we came from, but yet we question where we come from. We question our purpose. And we forget that every deity, every mythological creature that ever existed, or that exists, or that ever will exist, merely are the terms and terminologies of the men or men of the cultures that we become part of. You know, you grow where you were planted at. I was planted in the United States. So I grow here and I take on the culture. Let me also remind you that the culture is merely an establishment by the colonizers, whomever they may be. I'm not talking right or wrong. I'm not bringing an ethical question into the mix. I'm just simply stating that wherever you were planted, whether you chose or not, or did not choose, whether you were, removed from one place to another, whether you expatriated, whether you're an immigrant, that is irrelevant at this point in time. But wherever you have spent the majority of your time, you have learned that culture, and that culture has become a major point of establishing your social mores. You see what I'm saying? That's what has happened. I don't care if your great 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 grandparents were slaves and brought over on a ship. And the fact is that for generations, you have been established here and you have learned the customs. You have eaten the food and you have basically lost your cultures, the things that really define you and make you who you are. You forgot that. So you kind of adapted, the cultures of your enslavement, moving forward from that. So the cultures of our enslavement have brought to us what is known as Christianity, religions, etc., etc., for whatever good or nefarious purposes. It does not change that fact. Okay? And so that's what you know. That's what you have been groomed in, raised in. That has become now your social mores, your social norm. And so this is where we are. Okay, so those mythological creatures, those entities were established through, and terminologies were established and handed to you that define the host country's beliefs and social norms. And you took them on. Okay, there are villages and remote areas of the jungles and what have you that don't know of a Santa Claus. You see what I'm saying? That is our maybe Western ideology, albeit it was allegedly based upon a Saint Nicholas, right? Which was allegedly some saint, or they call him a saint because of the nice things he did, right? But think of how much further that ideology has gone now. Chimney, red suit, going down the chimney, eating cookies. Think of flying reindeer. Where do you think that started? Do you think it looked like that in the beginning? No, it's metastasized. And this is what I contend has happened in religion, Christianity, alike, and all the different denominational traditions and what have you. The same thing has happened because we're creatures of habit. That's what we do, right? Remember telephone? Remember telephone? You speak one, phrase into the first or second person's ear. By the time it goes around 15 people, it hardly ever comes back the same as it went out. There's inconsistency there. Why? Because it's a demonstration that when men and women, okay, hear legends, hear stories, okay, by the time it has gone through their imagination, they always add a piece to it because we like drama, as it were. We love um, exaggerations. It makes life more interesting. Notice we always, as a human race, always want to go faster, higher. We want to stay longer. You see what I'm saying? It's ingrained in us. It's human nature to want to do those things, to want to always, we tend to be bipolar, one extreme to the next. We don't like to settle for or be in equilibrium or what they call, aka normal. That's boring. Muy aburrido, as they say in Espanol, in Spanish, right? It's boring. We want excitement. We want to feel alive. We want to jump out of a plane at 13,000 feet or whatever the appropriate altitude is, right? We want to. What do we do for fun as humans? We propel ourselves from 100 feet on a metal track, a man-made track, no less, and we want to be twisted and shot upside down on this rickety metal track while our head is banging, in between the seat harness and what have you. We enjoy that. It makes us feel alive. Death-defying feats. That's why we like the circus. You're really there just in case that acrobat does not catch that other acrobat. That's really why we go. Tell the truth and shame the devil, as my mom used to say. She's a pastor of Christianity. But that's really what it's about. Why do we go to the football games? What are we really there for? Tell the truth. What are we really there for? You want to see somebody get their head blown off. Tell the truth. Right? In basketball, it's not as volatile, perhaps, but nonetheless, we want to see somebody get dunked on. Right? That's what we want to see. Because that's who we are. That feminine and masculinity issue of our nature and what have you, the yin and the yang. We love that. We have that side of us, that dark side of us, right? We learn customs and establish social norms that kind of cover over that naughtiness inside of us, but we have that because there's a negative and a positive balance. There should be. You shouldn't let one win over the other. If you do that, then you're considered bipolar, one extreme to the next. You're either all the way bad or all the way good. No, there has to be a balance, a yin and a yang. That's just what it is. And so God, this theory, this ideology, is basically the personification. It's man projecting himself into an ideology, right? I think that's called an amorphism or something like that, where we give human-like characteristics to an ideology, a mythological being or a deity. We give it human-like character, the hand of God. Well, but then, we'll also teach that no man has seen God at any time and lived. You see? Well, no man. How can you see the hand of God if no man has seen God and lived? And then you say that God is spirit. John chapter 4, verse 24, God is spirit. Well, can you see a spirit? Huh? The connotation of a spirit is breath. Look at the Latin word for spirit. It's spiritus or spirare is the verb form of action, to breathe. That's all it's connoting. It's invisible, therefore. So how do you see a hand of an invisible entity? You don't. That's man projecting his ideology upon this form, this deity, right? This ideology. And then we package it and sell it because we're all marketers. We're all selling ourselves. What do we do to get a job? We sell ourselves. They ask us questions about ourselves. That's all we're doing. We create GODs on a regular basis, every single day. It's just the ones with the deeper pockets and the more social influence, the politicians, the Pope, et cetera, that are on a world stage, they can do it better and affect more people. That's all it is. That's all it is. So let me ask you a question. Okay? Let me ask you a question. If you blow up a balloon, okay, let's say I'm in this bathroom, right? I'm in this bathroom and I have a balloon. I close the door and I seal the bathroom closed, right? So it's airtight. I have the balloon. After the room is sealed tight, no air is getting in. So the air that's inside is the air that's going to stay. Can I still inflate that balloon? Of course I can. I can borrow the air that is in the sealed room and I can displace it and take that omnipresent, omnipotent amount of air that fits in that balloon. Let's say it's this size, the balloon. I take the air, I borrow the air that's already here, and I force it, I breathe in. So I took a measure of the air that is in this sealed room. I borrowed it, stored it in my lungs, and then I take this piece of latex rubber or whatever kind of rubber it is, it's not important right now, and I take that borrowed air and I blow it into the balloon. It's going to inflate in accordance with the air that I borrowed and stored in my lungs. It's going to inflate to that size and that size only until I take another borrowed portion of the air, so in this sealed room, and further add that measure. That balloon will subsequently inflate to that size. Was the air destroyed? No, it was merely placed into the container. This is what I contend the idea of an omnipotent, omnipresent deity known as God. That's the idea. We say he or it is all around us at all times. Everything is made of it. Okay? Everything is made of it. It's everywhere. You can't get away from it. It's no different from this analogy being in a sealed room. Okay? I took a portion of what you may call God because that balloon, without the animus, without the spirit, without the breath, remember, spirare, spiritus, the Latin for the word breath and for the action of breathing is spirit. I took the spirit, the animator, because what did it do to that flappy piece of balloon of that rubber? Before I added that spirit in there, that spirare in there, it was nothing. It was just a shell. Isn't that what your body is? Just a shell? Isn't that what your body is?